of them looks all the more absurd. All the more absurd because it's been repeated over and over and over again now. And like I said, everybody knows where I'm going. I won't go there, Sad, because I don't want to crash the party and get your channel canceled. But we all know what I'm saying, right? We all know what I'm saying. It was not this like incredibly selfish and irresponsible act to forego getting a shot. It just wasn't, because of what we know, because of transmission. Like I said, I'm not going to use all the buzzwords that are going to get YouTube on our ass here, but I just, it just seems absurd knowing what we know now. And going back to the other thing, if this were a Twitter live stream, I wouldn't have to speak in codes the way I have to do now because we're on YouTube. So yes, I understand what we're saying about how, yes, certain left voices are still censored off of that platform. If we were on that platform now, I could actually say what I mean without getting Sabby's, fucked up here. You know what I mean? Instead, I have to sound like a moron thinking of code words to say, oh, well, should I say this word or no? Should I say medicine instead of the word that I wouldn't let? You know what I mean? It's just absurd. It's just nonsense. And so, yes, absolutely full solidarity with them. No question about it. Full solidarity at the time. In retrospect, it's not even close. It's a joke what they did to those people. It's a joke how they portrayed those people.
I was just say it real quick. As a socialist and a civil libertarian and a supporter of labor, I stand with the truckers, and that's the way people should look at it. And that's all I have to say about that.
Stand with the truckers. Okay.
Same.
Elon is not the savior of free speech, but for right now, he is blowing the lid off on big tech, which I think is something that we all have been wanting to say. Please prove us that we were correct. And
which introduces a sort of new revelation, but rather it confirms something that we already knew was happening, which is that they're tampering with people's shit behind the scenes. And not only are they not telling them about it, they're denying it.
So for people saying that the Twitter files are just like opinion and BS, they have documentation. Those are just people trying to simp for Joe Biden's punk ass. Had it not been for Elon Musk taking over as CEO of Twitter, would we have the Twitter files? Probably not.
Can we just luxuriate over the fact that Savvy said Joe Biden's punk ass? We just gotta luxuriate over that. I love it.
Well, I already said my piece on that one, as you could see.
I think they're telling us we have 1 minute till countdown, Shane.
Okay. Let's try to get through these. Okay.
So the Supreme Court has voted.
Happy New Year.
Abortion rights. I really cannot believe that in 2022 we are going backwards.
Happy New Year.
Any of the Democratic lawmakers really care about any of the women or spouses that have to suffer from this abuse? The answer is no.
Because I really believed that community that we were building, that the Democratic Party was building, was going to do great things, and that was in my 20s. And then I came to realize that once they get into positions of power, they forget about us, and they forget about our needs. And the things that are most sacred to us are still left on the chopping block.
Well, the first thing I do as president is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. That's the first thing. Now, the Freedom of Choice Act is not my highest legislative priority.
Can you please make a $3 contribution to elect Mandela Barnes to the Senate? We need him to be the deciding vote to end the filibuster and codify Roe into law.
We suffered a 1-2 punch at the hands of first the Democratic Party and second served up by the Republicans.
All but one of the squad crossed the picket line, voting with Dem Republican majority to break a rail workers' strike.
Democrats, then Republicans, smite rail labor. These workers come out and explicitly call out both parties.
Should Congress intervene with union contracts? 8% said yes,
and 84% said no.
7 sick days was just too much. But these union leaders too, though, they were idiots as well as these railway CEOs.
And honestly, we should have universal sick leave for every workplace in this country anyway.
Seems like if this is the kind of route that they're going, then they need to nationalize this.
Let's get comments on those last two stories real quick because we know we have the next panel coming in.
I'm just going to say one thing to close. I know it's New Year's on the East Coast now. Happy New Year. Kshama Sawant is the most important elected in this country, hands down, and we need more people like her. Happy New Year.
100%. Happy New Year to you guys as well. I just want to say that I think that Jimmy hit the nail on the head there. If we had, sick pay for everyone in this country, this wouldn't have even been an issue.
Yep. What happened with the rail workers was a shame, and the squad proves that what frauds they are. They are the fraud squad for what they did to the rail workers.
Yeah. Just remember, Roe v. Wade is Obama's top priority. He's still working on it.
Yep. And if we had universal health care, if we had a nationalized healthcare system, number one, we wouldn't have to worry about Roe v. Wade because that would be a medical right for people who have uteruses. And then also we wouldn't have to worry about sick days because people can actually get their health care. It's just a travesty, the fact that this is still an argument in one of the richest countries in the history of the world.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's get started with the next panel, guys.
Medicare for all.
Happy New Year from Georgia, by the way.
Yes, Happy New Year.
I still have one more hour. I'm in Central.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Sounds like a double war
Happy
zone
New
down
Beer.
here in the South.
Happy New Year, Sabby. Happy New Year, JB.
Happy New Year.
I think somebody's firing off an AR-15 somewhere. I don't know.
I live in the hood. I'll just mute myself.
I'm going to sign off to make room for this panel. Thank you guys for having me. Cheers. Happy New Year, everybody.
Okay, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Okay, we still waiting for somebody to arrive?
Madeline said that she would try.
Okay.
So Madeline is in Colombia at the moment, and she's trying to make it back to her apartment. Does not know if she will make it back in time for this panel. The internet where she is not good, so you probably won't see her for this panel.
Okay, thank you, Shane. So the question for this panel is to vote or not to vote. That is the question. We might start out with some introductions. JB Fauntleroy is from the Revolutionary Blackout Network. Sabrina Salvati is also from the Revolutionary Blackout Network, and also has her own channel, I believe. And there, is Gregory, who is a Georgian activist. Okay, and Gregory Mallard is about to start to stream with a new show this coming week. And Dee Piers is the co-host of Around the World with Brandy and Dee. And the other co-host is Brandy Weaver. And let's see, on the bottom we have Keith, whose last name I don't know, but who is the host of MNP for Dummies, I believe. Is that right, Keith?
Yeah, it's Keith Witherspoon. It's on Clubhouse. Actually, Fado Kaboom is actually on there. Uh, he only came on once, but he became a member. So I was like, yes.
Well, good. Okay, that's great. Okay, I have another window open here, but I can't see who that is. And then I see Teresa Sanders, okay, on the right. And hi, Teresa. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, so who would like to begin to answer the question to vote or not to vote?
I'll start here. I think we should change the framing because when we say to vote or not to vote, is that on the national level? Is that on the local level? Because I, for one, I think you can get more done electorally on the local level from what I've seen from my experience. So when it comes to the local level, I would tell you definitely you should vote. When it comes to the national level, if there isn't a third party or independent candidate, I would tell you that you're wasting your time. So I think we should change the framing.
Well, I think you just did.
I agree with Sabby, actually. Those are my sentiments completely.
I agree with Sabby wholeheartedly there because, as the saying goes, all politics is local. And voting on the local and state level, whether you know it or not, has a greater impact on your life than you imagine. And we've got to vote out these corrupt politicians on our local and state level. But to not vote at all, in my opinion, just allows the corruption to continue being there.
Well, I'll go next. I definitely agree as well about voting on the state, local level, as well as ballot initiatives. I think the problem that we face is so many people are so fed up that they just don't do it at all. I mean, in my state, we only had a 45% turnout. And so that's the thing, is getting people to, it's not to understand, because I understand why they don't vote, but giving them something to vote for, a reason to turn out.
Yeah, I fully agree, with Brandy on giving them something to vote for. I do realize, and I think there is good reason that there's some people who may be so disenchanted with the system that they choose not to vote. And I really don't necessarily blame them. And I say this, if you're not going to vote, then okay. But in place of that, are you doing something as far as activism, organizing, something on the ground that's local in order to change your community other than voting? I think that's another viable option outside of that if you choose not to do any type of voting. But when it comes to voting, I do also agree with Sabby. When it comes to voting, the local level, the state level, ballot initiatives, these things are a direct route into affecting your lives in a more direct and tangible way. And also, if you do want to vote nationally, then it would be, if it were something like a someone who was independent or a third party, I say give it still a shot. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I just don't believe doing it through the duopoly. That's the only thing, because I see it as a fool's errand to do it through the duopoly.
I really believed in Bernie, and I worked hard nationally. I devoted my time, and then I worked some for the state, but I was more into the national because I understood the capacity and capabilities of of our money at the federal level, and its ability, to create good jobs and a better quality of lifestyle. If people would understand true macroeconomics instead of the microeconomic spin and BS that they give us. But I can see now that to try to elect at that level, it is just so corrupt and bought that you've got to work at the lower levels. I mean, and in the meantime, I think we need to organize. I really believe we need to work toward direct action, and that takes 3.5% of a population for successful direct action. And in the United States, that's about 12 million people.
Did you have any comments, Keith?
Yeah, I was playing house. What was it? Double Dutch, trying to find a way to jump in. But yeah, I agree. Like, it definitely starts locally. I think people are kind of figuring that out. I think one of the biggest positives, I think, is that because there's a lot of people from California and New York, they can't live in those places no more. So they're actually going to go around trying to find cheap places to live, and in doing so, they're basically turning those places more blue. And I think that is a potential positive for people who are progressives and people who want to see more positive change, because when they turn these other areas more blue, it actually gives us opportunity because there's more people in I guess redder states who are now open to, like, hey, like, maybe we should have more public transit, maybe we should have um, I don't know, better infrastructure or something like that. Before, it would have been impossible to get people to accept it, but now you got people from different places like, yeah, man, I'm used to this stuff and it's not here, and they're going to use their power, money, and influence to make it happen. So it's a little, you gotta find nuggets of positivity where you can. So
Okay, thank you, Keith. And Dee?
Hello. Yes, I'm with everybody with saying local. You know, local politics is so important, and it's so important to meet the people too. Like between elections, when you attend different meetings, just getting to know who everybody is, like local county commissioner meetings, if you have them, or whatever you call them in your local neighborhoods. Because there's people that you run into that there could be a whole host of things that you don't agree on. And then you find there are things that you do. So at least you all can campaign around the stuff you agree on. And it's just really nice to get to know who all these different people are and really kind of make that local family.
So I'd like to answer my own question. Actually, it wasn't my question, but the following way. Okay, I agree that I would like to vote at the state and local levels, but also at the national level. So I'd like to vote at all levels.